All right. Here we go, guys and gals. And boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, drivers.
Welcome back to the Loose Wheel Show. My name is Andrew Hazlett. That is Ethan Ignatowski.
What's up? What's up?
This is episode 30 of season 3. This also happens to be our 100th upload to YouTube. So,
Really?
yeah, not the
Hmm.
100th episode. Uh, we're only on episode, I think it's 90 in our career. In terms if you add them all up. Let me check. Uh, it is actually 89. So, one off. So that's not too bad. Not bad from the uh, not a bad guess. But anyway, let's get into the reviews.
And now for last week's race reviews.
A lot to talk about this weekend. Starting off with Laguna Seca, Kyle Collette won both of the Indy Next races. So yeah, a weekend sweep for him. I think that puts him second in the championship now, behind Dennis the Menace Hauger. I don't know if he's actually called that. I just made that up. But anyway, Alex Palou, he led from the pole right away. You had Schwartzman and Daly go off. Kevin Simpson just smashed the 60 car Felix Rosenquist. They went into the hard into the wall for yellow. Both cars wound up retiring. I think the 60 might have gotten a few laps in there, but still disappointing week for both those drivers. Alex Palou leads. Jacob Abel crashes due to some sort of brake issue or throttle sticking right in the hairpin, which is one of the worst places to crash on the circuit with like that. So, but a few people pit. This wound up shaking up the order a little bit. In terms of the outside the podium, but didn't really wind up shaking up the top 3 or 4 by the end of it. Palou leads, green flag pit stops, Kirkwood spins VK, and so there's this thing that IndyCar does. No one really likes it. And they did it again, is how what they do if there's a car off track, like that's out of harm's way, and they want to throw a caution, they'll wait to throw the caution because some try to not give some people the advantage of pitting if mid-cycle, which we were in at this point. So they did it, held it for a lap, and for a reason, Nolan Siegel didn't decide to pit. I don't know why. It's annoying. I don't like it, and you'll see later how a similar situation happened that shouldn't have happened. So, yeah, I don't know why IndyCar does it. They like it, but no one outside of them likes it. Drivers don't like it. Teams don't like it. Co- Uh, journalists like us don't like it. Fans don't like it. So yeah, would but they continue to do it. At least they're consistent in doing it. That's a one decent thing about it, I guess. Anyway, Alex Palou got the lead quickly on the restart because Nolan Siegel is Nolan Siegel and Alex Palou is Alex Palou. Green flag pit stops. Alex Palou led after stops. And then we had another round of green flag pit stops. With 22 to go after that round of pit stops was uh, Palou, Rasmussen, not Rasmussen, Lundgaard. Get my Danish people named Christian mix up here. And the 26 of Colton Herta. Marcus Ericsson had a spin not at the top of the corkscrew, but on the point leading up to the corkscrew. And IndyCar just sat for too long of a time hoping they were gonna get uh have Eric get allow Ericsson to get his car turned around when there just wasn't an opportunity. So IndyCar, you get the chicken award for that. So yeah, terrible stuff from IndyCar. For Lord knows what reason why they couldn't see the obvious. Everyone was saying, "Oh yeah, this is obvious." I was saying this is obvious, but no, IndyCar didn't see it was obvious, I guess. So eventually, yellow. When we get going, Nolan Siegel has a spin. Uh, Santino goes off in the gravel caution. Once we get going, Rasmussen off momentarily. Podium was still Pelot, Lundgaard, and Herta. 2 out of 10 race. I do want to spotlight Callum Ilott getting Prema's third consecutive top 10, tie his career best result, I believe, with a sixth place. Prema coming on strong right now for their being the first year team. Three top tens in a row, a ninth at the second Iowa race with Schwartzman, and then eighth at Toronto, sixth at Laguna Seca now with Callum Ilott. So that's really cool. Just seeing this team kind of here get three not podiums but top tens, which at this point is what they need, right? If you thought, oh, this team was going to contend for top fives, podiums, wins in year one, that would be just. I know IndyCar's a spec series and all, but it's still unrealistic because these teams all have uh 13 years experience already. This is the 14th year of the DW12, even though it's so yeah, you're behind the eight ball here if you're these two teams. So uh they've grown, and that's what they need to continue to do is have finishes. They only have 5 DNFs so far this year. Uh, so if they can just keep finishing races, uh, finish races in the top 20, and get top 15s, top 10s, nice. But if you're beating out 7 other cars, that's still good results for what you're needing to do. You can't go from zero to hero. You have to grow slowly, slowly. And 3 top 10s in a row for this team is pretty good. Like you haven't seen this from established teams like Ray Hall, Juncos, I believe. Yeah, Juncos. I don't know if ECR has been able to string 3 top ECR. They haven't done it yet either. I would imagine I think every other team has done it. But yeah, it just shows how this team is punching above their weight. And maybe if they can just keep building and building, Ethan, they could be something someday. So that's enough of that. Going over to Indy, Annapolis, the Truck Series. They were at IRP, the short track, in a different place in Indianapolis. Lane Riggs, he won the race, a second one of the season. Xfinity winner was Connor Zilisch, but we have the Arca Breaks moment of the week going to the one, the only Austin Hill, Ethan. And you might be wondering, what did Austin Hill do? Well, let's see. He right rear hooked Eric Almirola on the short shoot, which is a straightaway. He got parked for 5 laps, and he was telling NASCAR to F off. But if you look at the replay, you see how he's driving. I've got my hands. Ethan can see my hands. He's driving, he's saving it. His hands are going crazy. And then as soon as he saves the car, his hands are like this, just sitting there. Because, if you want to drive in a straight line, you're gonna have your hands be straight, right? And then you can see, because he has white gloves, which are very obvious in a dark car, he goes, and turns his hands to move the wheel to the left, right rear hook out Amaral. NASCAR has suspended him for this, and which is obviously the right move. And what makes this even more funny, Ethan, is that Austin Hill publicly said in the Xfinity Driver Series meeting, "I want to be the guy that the young guys look up to and how to race clean." Well, that's a bunch of bull.
Ironic.
Get an extra chicken squeak there. So yeah, not good. Ethan, I heard you were saying something. Go ahead.
Not good is what I said, because uh, in the most simplest way ever, I don't know how else you would describe it. It was such a dirty move. I mean, if I got to decide things instead of just comment on things that already happened, I would have suspended him for more than just one race,
I mean,
quite honestly.
one race has been this historical standard, except for that Austin Cindric spinning Ty Dillon at Coda, which was deemed intentional but not a suspension. But yeah, one is the most. But yeah, it's kind of interesting how that.
It's it's very ironic that he wants to be some sort of leader in the Xfinity series, and here he is acting like a toddler that doesn't know how to control his emotions.
Yep. Anyway, going to the main race, you had not Martin Truex Jr. on pole, Chase Briscoe on pole. We had Ross Chastain made some contact with Mike McDowell that ended Chastain's race early. Um, we had yellow flag stops. Most take two as 19 and Briscoe let him off, but the Penske aligned trio of Cindric, Logano, and Barry all stay out. Cindric leads. Right front tire went down for Michael McDowell. Uh, the trio that I mentioned earlier, Cindric, Logano, Barry, and Eric Jones pit under green, handing the lead to Chase Briscoe, who won stage one. Stage two, 77 Hocevar took two tires, but he came out behind Briscoe, who was on four tires. Seven drivers stay out. They were Priest, Bowman, Haley, Cindric, Barry, Logano, and Jones. Stenhouse was on the wall in the restart. Dillon was smoking as Priest leads. Green flag stops for Priest, Bowman, and Haley, handing the lead over to Cindric. Cole Custer has a tire go down, uh, and Byron Pitts thinking, oh, that might be a caution, trying to jump at everyone, but there was no caution needed to be thrown. There was none. Cindric has a right rear tire go down from the lead, handing the lead to Logano. Again, no caution. Logano, Busher, Gibbs, and Hamlin all pit. Bubba Wallace leads. Byron leads. Cars have stopped. Jones in the wall after his wheel came off, but the tire stayed on. The top nine guys had yet to pit. Um, so you can say it with me, Ethan. It was a loose wheel.
This wheel. Yeah.
Anyway, Blaney, Keselowski, and Byron were your top three, as the rest of the guys who hadn't pitted and some that already had pitted. Blaney leads. Blaney wins stage two. Blaney stops when pit road was not open and some others pit. I This was intentional, Ethan, as they were running out of fuel. And obviously, if you run out of fuel, it's going to take longer for the safety truck to push you around the track than to just pit while the pits are closed. So it's it's doing what you have to do. You're in a bad spot. Anyway, after when pit road opens, some others pit. Larson leads. Uh, Afterwards, that's when we get going. Green flag pit stops for some on two, some on four. Bl- Logano, who was leading those, who had stopped at this point, as a right rear tire go down. 23 of Bubba Wallace inherited the lead of those who stopped. Logano runs out of power on the pit road. Wallace leads. Then we got a rain caution with about 4 to go, uh, which would put us into overtime. While Reddick leads the group that had pitted group into the pits, but John Hunter Nemechek was the first off. He took two, I think. Overtime, just the 20 right rear hooks of 38 was unintentional. He's just trying to pass him, just misjudged there. I'm going to shout Christopher Bell because after the race, he went down to the 38 crew, apologized to all of them, shook their hands, then went to the road crew, apologized to them, shook their hands. Because, Ethan, those are the guys that are going to have to repair the race car. And not many, I don't think any drivers, Ethan, go and apologize to the entire crew at the racetrack after they unintentionally wreck someone else. Yeah,
Yeah,
drivers might talk to each other, but this is something different. Are you saying something?
I was agreeing.
Uh, yeah. Anyway, the spinning Smith wrecked into Reddick, Logano, and I guess himself because I put his number down there. Um, I'm going to talk about Tyler Reddick because I thought, and at that moment, I thought Reddick pitting was a bad strategy because Reddick was in, like, I think sixth at this point, Ethan, before he pitted, and with potentially with this race include, there was 5 races with 4 spots not locked into the playoffs. Reddick is one of those top 4 guys. At this point, you don't think there's going to be 4 new winners in the next 5 races. I think you got to take points because historically there has been at least one guy to get in on points every single year. And I don't think this is going to change. So I criticize that move because I think back to, I think it was 2017 when Casey Kane won. We saw so much calamity in the back on these restarts late. And that race became known as one of the greatest Indy races ever for NASCAR because of that calamity late. And I thought this same thing might just very well happen. And it did. Like, so yeah. Anyway, next restart, uh, Bubba Wallace wins. Ty Gibbs won the bracket challenge, if anyone cares about that. I give the race a 6 out of 10 overall. So yeah, at this point, I'm going to do a quick points update for you, Ethan, because uh, now with Bubba Wallace into the playoffs with 4 races left, we have 13 guys locked in into the playoffs. I'm gonna give you who they are: Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Shane Van Gisbergen, Chase Elliott, William Byron, Ryan Blaney, Chase Briscoe, Bubba Wallace, Joey Logano, Ross Chastain, Austin Cindric, Josh Berry. Right now, depending on right, unless there are 4 new winners in the next 4 races, those 13 guys I just named are in. If there were to be 4 races, one of those 17 winners would not make the chase or playoffs, which is something that we'll get to if we need to. But right now, Tyler Reddick, 138 points above the cut line. Looking at the schedule, Ethan, you've got Iowa, which is kind of a different track, but a normalish race. Watkins Glen, a road course. We've seen crazy Watkins Glen races in the past. Richmond, uh, it's in the same kind of deal as Iowa, kind of a different layout, but it races normally. And then Daytona, where realistically Tyler Reddick can crash out lap one and finish last. Like that could happen to anyone. So yeah, if I'm looking at the standings, he's ahead of Alex Bowman by 70 right now, but he's now opened that door to collapse. Say he blows an engine at a Richmond or an Iowa. Well, we might have a points battle here because Bowman's a guy who can score 40 a week. If you gain 40 a week on Reddick in 1 week, the battle's kind of open again to an extent. And then Busher 42 above the cut line. That's about 90 behind Reddick. So Reddick is feeling fairly safe, but at this point, I think you got to play the points. I just think you do. Uh, Ryan Preece 42 back, Kyle Busch 81 back, Ty Gibbs 95 back. So I don't think there's no one real you there'd have to be a lot to for this to change. Like I was saying, same thing with Reddick. You just got to chase points if you're Busher. And if you even if you're the Kyle Busch and Ty Gibbs, I think you have to win at this point. But yeah, everyone else is in that you must win, even though it's not mathematically that way. It's still you got to have that mental attitude. So that's kind of reset there. Uh, Ethan, Belgium. I watched the end of the Belgium race. I will say
Live?
live. Yes, I
Wow,
was.
you did more than me.
I was the. I think I wound up watching like the last 7 laps. I was not impressed with the last 7 laps, but talk
Yeah,
about the whole race. Did I
well,
watch the worst part?
well, you definitely didn't watch the most exciting part, but honestly, I'm gonna be so for real here, Andrew. I didn't watch the entire race. I didn't. I never got around to watching the entire race. I watched the 30-minute long extended highlights cut from ESPN F1, who's doing great stuff right now covering the sport, gotta say. But um I never actually watched the entire race. Part of that was just because my week was really crazy. Last week of my internship, whole lot was happening and life just happens as well. So never actually had, enough time to sit down and watch the, 2 hour, however long race it was. But like I said, watched,
Crawdad.
yeah, shout out Crawdads. Gave a good run there. Good run there. But yeah, like I said, watched the 30-minute highlights. So I feel like I'm informed enough to get talking about it. Plus, I'm addicted to social media. I practically watched the entire race on social media. Shout out Twitter. Um, Starting with the support series though, Noah Stromstead won the F3 sprint race. It was his first win in F3. He's a Mercedes junior, so maybe a name to watch. The feature race was canceled. Weather was affecting everything this weekend, whole lot of rain. Um,
You know what Luke Bryan says about rain, Ethan?
what's that?
Rain makes corn.
Mm. I don't think they grow corn in Belgium.
That's I would say that's unfortunate, but I don't really like corn that much.
I don't really like corn either, and everyone always looks at me strange and is like, "How do you not like corn?" I
Thank
don't
you.
like corn. Sorry, sorry.
Like I know we're gonna get into a random side tangent here, but we can. This is our show.
I'm
Just
so ready for this.
corn to me, like it's just an vegetable. I'm kind of a vegetable guy more than a fruit guy, but
Really? Okay.
yeah, I I'm just not never been a big corn guy. Like I prefer my corn off the cob than on the cob.
Agreed.
Again, people look at me strangely when I say that, but like I just don't like the process of eating corn off the cob, like while it's on the cob and you take it off the cob while you eat. Like the weird like texture that's like under the cob, you know what I'm talking about, Ethan?
Yeah. I
Like
mean, for me,
that
it's
getting in your
mostly
mouth,
like
just no.
that's fair. I think for me, it's mostly like it doesn't really taste like anything. People are like, oh my God, corn tastes so good. My brother in Christ, you are rubbing so much butter and salt on it. You're not actually tasting corn. And like the when you bite into it, it's like kind of like a popping thing. Like, nah, just get it out of here. Don't don't I don't know. Don't mess with it. Back to F1 though now, maybe.
Back to regularly scheduled program. I'm gonna clip that.
Yeah. Um F3 race, feature race canceled. The F2 sprint race was won by Leonardo Fornaroli, his second sprint win, and he also took the lead in the championship over the weekend. There's like five guys who, at this current point, could theoretically and could honestly likely win the championship, but there's still a long way to go. The feature race was won by a guy that isn't in that category. No disrespect, but Roman Stanek. And then F1 also had a sprint race this weekend, just wild weekend. It was on at 3 a.m. local time, so I didn't watch it. Um, but I do know that Max got past Oscar on the Kemmel Straight on lap one and then went on to win. And Oscar got P2, Lando got P3. On to the actual F1 race. The race was delayed because of rain. LOL FIA. Um, Look, I get it's for safety and all that, and I say that every time. I also say this every time. I just think it's kind of crazy that F1 used to be able to race in the wet, and now we can't. But I'm not going to get into a rant about it because I've already done that rant way too many times on this show. So on or at the end of lap four, everyone on Inter tires, we finally said boogity boogity boogity, let's go racing boys, because we had a rolling start after the safety car paraded them around the track for 4 laps. Um, Norris was on pole. He led the field to green. He had a little bit of a slide coming out of turn one, which let Oscar get really close to him. But the real issue for Lando was that he was having battery problems. Zach Brown confirmed it after the race, and Oscar was just able to stick right through him, or right on his tail through Eau Rouge and Radion. And the battery issue combined with just how powerful the slipstream was, let Oscar slip past Lando on the Kemmel Straight as Max did to Oscar himself during the sprint. I think it's a different kind of battery than that, Andrew.
Okay.
Just just my thought. On lap six, George Russell made a really nice move down the inside of Alex Albon for P5 at the chicane at the end of the Kemmel Straight, and then through the next few laps. Also different than that. Andrew, for those that won't be able to see it, Andrew showed me a car battery, and now he's showing me like AA batteries or something. Um, Lewis, he got knocked out in Q1, really bad qualifying for him. So he was fighting his way up through the grid. On lap 11, his teammate Charles Leclerc had a massive slide coming out of turn one. Yeah, I see you, Andrew. I see you. He Leclerc, he kind of lost control of the car a couple times, which let Max like kind of get close to him, but was never really able to pass him. And as Leclerc started to complain that his tires were gone, It was kind of funny because Hamilton then came into pit.
Oh no, my
That was on
tires
lap
are gone.
that was on lap 12. He pit for mediums out of 13th place, and that started a chain reaction. Everyone came in to get on medium tires, except Lando Norris, who on lap 14 came in for hards instead. Literally everyone else had either already pitted for mediums or was going to pit for mediums, but not good old Lando. I'm not really sure why McLaren did that. Um, but it's what they did. I don't think it would have changed anything if he was on mediums, but that's just what happened. It was also a slow stop, so the pit stop situation for Lando was kind of weird. But like I said, I don't think it would have changed anything, even if it was a fast stop, even if they put him on mediums. It's just what happened. Anyway, though, after the first pit stops were completed, Hamilton jumped all the way up to P7, huge undercut since he was the first guy to come in. The top 10 was Piastri, Norris, Leclerc, Verstappen, Russell, Albon, Hamilton, Lawson, Hulkenberg, and Bortoleto. Jumping ahead 6 more laps, Bortoleto and Hulkenberg swapped, so Bortoleto was ahead of Hulkenberg now, because Hulkenberg was trying to go after Lawson, or maybe he was trying to conserve his tires or battery or something. I don't know, but Hulkenberg wasn't able to catch Liam Lawson, so Bortoleto asked the team to swap them, and they did. And then throughout the later laps in the 20 lap range, early 30s, Lando was going faster than anyone on track. He was pushing really hard trying to catch Piastri, but he was also a little reckless. He made a sizable mistake at Pouan, which cost him some time. But he was trying his best to catch out Oscar, but Oscar was just so fast. And honestly, there was really nothing. This race was really boring. There was a lot of close running. Cars were really, really close to each other, but outside of a few shuffling spots, um, outside of the points, there wasn't really a whole lot that happened. I mean, Kimi Antonelli made some nice moves after a really bad qualifying. He's definitely lost some confidence. That's kind of rough to see. But he made some nice moves. He had a battle with Esteban Ocon, but Esteban ended up winning that. Um, Nico was one of a few drivers that pit for a second time, which put Pierre Gasly into the points. So I guess that's noticeable, or notable, I should say.
I noticed that.
Um, what else? Like Yuki and Oliver Behrman switched spots. Yuki was in P11, Behrman was in P12. Behrman was eventually able to get past Yuki, which stats that exist but do not matter. He was able to hold on to P11, which made it the fourth race in a row that he finished P11, which ties a Formula One record for most races in a row that someone has finished in the same spot that isn't P1, because obviously we've had drivers who have gone on like crazy win streaks, but somehow no one has finished like P13 like 8 races in a row. So if Oliver Behrman finishes P11 in Hungary, then we're gonna have a Formula One record holder on the grid, Andrew, a new one. So that's exciting if you care about random things, which I know you do. Um, Jump into pretty much the end of the race though, because like I said, absolutely nothing happened. On the penultimate lap, lap 43, Lando had got the gap down to just over 3 seconds, which, in a way was impressive just because, he made up a ton of ground, but it was never going to be enough. Especially after he slid out of turn one again. That cost him a lot of time. But like even if he nailed that corner, it was just never going to be enough. Oscar crossed the line first after lap 44. Great race for him. Last week, I know we were talking. We we failed to mention that Spa is where Oscar picked up his first sprint win. Um, but we mentioned how it kind of felt like a Lando track, even though um Lando never really had results there. Yes, I see your hand raised, Andrew.
I thought Oscar had his first sprint win at Qatar.
Might have been first sprint win at Qatar. He had a sprint win at Spa.
Okay,
Um,
didn't he win the feature race too last year?
no, not at Spa. I don't think so. Now you're making me second guess myself. Um, we are checking. I he definitely didn't though, but we are checking. Yeah, Lewis won Belgium last year because that was the race that George won, but George got disqualified.
Yeah, I remember that and I'm like I because Piastri did beat Norris that race, so
No, I don't know. Oscar's had some success at Belgium. That's all I know. But we said it was a Lando track because he's always been faster despite never having crazy results. I think now it's fair to say that it is firmly an Oscar Piastri track. Um, Behind Oscar and Lando in P1 and P2 was Leclerc to round out the podium. Um, all three of those guys are to varying degrees having really respectable seasons. And then Verstappen in fourth, he could never get past Leclerc, even though, he had put Charles under a lot of pressure. Then Russell, Albon, who just great job by him all weekend, Hamilton, Liam Lawson, Bortoleto, and Pierre Gasly. Gap between Oscar and Lando is now 16 points. That's all I have to say, though. It's on to you now.
into the news. Back to you,
Into the
Ethan.
news.
And now for the news.
Oh, okay, I can go first. Sure. Um,
Doc says.
Audi has a title sponsor and partner next year. Because obviously Audi's going to take over the stake Sauber team, and they are partnering up with Revolut. I don't know how you say it. Revolut. Either way, they are a British multinational neobank and fintech company that offers banking services for individuals and businessmen, according to Wikipedia. I've never heard about these guys before. Have you ever heard about them before, Andrew?
No.
Well, that makes two of us then. But Audi, they're sure happy. In a press release, they said that the
We're
goal of the
happy.
partnership is to establish new ways for fans to interact with the sport during race weekends with unique experiences for a new generation of motorsport enthusiasts and exclusive benefits to, however you say their company's names, customers. Um, so, I mean, it'll bring money into the team. It'll be a partnership, which is always important for teams, especially a new team coming into the sport. That's really all I have to say about that, though, because I'm not really super tapped in, I guess you could say, on what the company is or the specific details of their partnership. But it's we know how Formula One teams and their partners interact. There's not too much to say. Another thing that, well, very notable, not too much to say, is Ferrari have given a multi-year contract extension to Fred Vasseur ahead of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Makes a lot of sense. I mean, Fred came in and he seemed to have a big impact at first, and now it seems like the team has kind of stagnated, and maybe even gone backwards a slight bit. But you don't want to like kick him off to the side before a huge new regulation change, and then after the regulation change, you want to give him like at least a year or two to kind of settle in. So, it kind of seemed like an obvious move to me. I know a lot of Ferrari fans really dislike Fred, but I mean, look at who he's replacing. Look at the success he's had comparatively. I understand that there's some stagnation now, but eyes are on 2026. It's going to be a new era of Formula One. We'll see how Fred can lead the team in that. I mean, I don't mind the move at all. We don't know how many years it's for, of course. F1 contracts are very tight-lipped, but I can't imagine it'd be more than like 3 years. Uh, but we'll see. We'll just have to see. I like it though. I don't know. I wouldn't be in favor of kicking him off to the side before the 2026 regulation changes.
Yeah.
And it's not like he would have agreed to just a 1 year deal. So yeah.
Yeah. Um, One big piece of IndyCar news is that Fox Corporation acquires one-third interest in Penske Entertainment. Um, Obviously an absolute shocker. I woke up to this news yesterday morning. I'm like, what? Um, uh, so yeah, they now partially own the Speedway in the series with IndyCar. So it'll be interesting to see what influence they have on the series, whether that be schedule, points, format changes, hopefully not any there, but we'll see on how they construct everything on their influence of that. I think the lead guy at Fox Sports grew up a huge IndyCar fan. That's why you see this move, because why not? Um, so yeah, that that obviously secures Fox as a long-term partner in terms of TV coverage. I would presume, because I don't know, but Fox I don't think Fox would want someone else to cover the series that they are, invested into. I don't know. But yeah, this is helps the long-term health of IndyCar very, very much. Moving to NASCAR, Jeff Gluck says NBC wants a playoff format, but NASCAR, the drivers, the teams don't want that. And right now, at this point, timing of the year, they're probably going to have to keep it for 2026. A lot to digest there. First of all, NBC wanting a playoff format surprises me because, Ethan, if you look at the ratings, when they're weakest normally is the last 10 races of the year, where the playoffs are. Kind of interesting. It's like NBC genuinely thinks this that they uh the playoff format's going to bring in people. And realistically, going up against the NFL, uh however many Sundays they do,
So
you're
it's a losing thing.
you like the casual fan is like, okay, say they they're whatever reason their NFL team that they like is not playing. It's like, okay, what would you rather watch? A gimmicky NASCAR race or more football? You're probably going to take the non-gimmicky sport over the gimmicky one if you view them the same, you know. So, yeah, I think that just it's interesting to me, but I I like the length of NASCAR's calendar, like the 36 races. I'd actually move it down to 35. But personally, at this point, is that I'd like it to be in less time. I don't want to go into like I don't want to go up against the NFL if I'm NASCAR. And that's why you see IndyCar has such a it- they're going to end in their calendar is going to end in the next month or so. So yeah, I think that's more the problem than so yeah, I think those are those two things are both hurting NASCAR going against the NFL in the playoff format. So with those factors, kind of interesting to see how what NBC thinks. Um, yeah, if NASCAR, I think if NASCAR wants the playoffs format to change, I don't know why they're not changing it. I know you want to appease the TV networks, but and NBC, but who cares what they think, really? You're the ones in control. Drive the car. You're in the driver's seat. Don't let someone else drive the car for you. It's kind of my thoughts on that. We'll see. The playoff committee on. We Jeff Gluck is on the committee, so he knows what he's talking about because he's there in these meetings with drivers, some other media members, teams, NASCAR, TV networks. So yeah, moving into next piece of move, Legacy Motor Club granted 10-day restraining order to prevent closing of Rick Ware Racing sale. It's part of their NASCAR court news. Um, what I'm seeing is it sounds like Legacy's gonna wind up with that charter. Thing is that will they get it when they want it or when they don't want it? Because right now, originally what Rick Ware Racing wanted was to have the charter in have the charter for next year and sell it prior to 2027. Legacy said, "Oh, it'll be after this current season, and we'll get the charter in 2026." And now with Rick Ware Racing selling their team, uh, uh, the new ownership wants to keep the charter for 2026 or 2027. So yeah, that's interesting. We so it's kind of unclear if they'll get it after this year or next year. See what the judge decides, but I do tend to believe on this how this is going that Legacy will get that charter. But still time to go. Things can change. This has been reported by just about everyone. Mexico City off the Cup schedule in 2026. Chicagoland likely to return. Um, yeah, I don't know how to feel about this. They're saying that the NASCAR race will conflict with the World Cup date, that being there. But IndyCar, we know IndyCar's trying to have a break, trying to go to Mexico City as well. So I don't know. Like I guess NASCAR is unwilling. No one was willing to work in the right dates. I don't know why. Yeah. On the other hand, yes, I do like seeing Chicagoland return. I remember it being a solid track. Sad to see it go, but try to keep the Chicago fans tapped in. Um, yeah. So I'll make 5 road courses for next year as of now, but there's still m more dominoes to fall, so we'll see. We'll see how the full schedule looks when we see it. So I'm not quite sure because amount of road courses versus ovals, which road courses do we have, which markets are we going into? A lot of dominoes yet to fall clearly. So there's obviously going to be mixed opinions on it right now for me, but they could change more. Yes, it's a good move. No, this is a bad move later on down the road. Regardless if Mexico City is indeed off the schedule, it's I think unfortunate. I I kind of like that race, but I don't like doing one and dones personally. Moving on to the last piece of news. This is kind of not really riveting news, but this is a 17-year-old. Brent Cruz started his own team and is fielding the number 70 truck at Watkins Glen. Jesse Love, Connor Zilich, uh, his two friends, and then late model racer and son of Tommy Baldwin, Jack Baldwin, joined the team as executive leadership. So in today's news of people doing people that are likely younger than you doing cool things. So yeah,
Yeah, why are we talking about these guys? Boo. No, I'm joking. That's really cool.
yeah. I think you know, Ethan, I don't know how well you know this, but Wood Brothers, they're their own team, but they're kind of treated as the fourth Penske team, right?
Right,
I feel
right.
like this is going to be the same thing, but with Nitro Motorsports being kind of the new Venturini in the Truck Series, I think, or not in the Truck Series, but ARCA. I think they're trying to have Xfinity, or not Xfinity, but Truck. Might want a truck team at some point. And 70's one of their numbers that they use, and I know they use it in ARCA. I think they use it in late models as well. I could be wrong there, but regardless, if there's affiliation with Nitro or not, still cool. Um, into the previews, Ethan.
And now for next week's race previews.
No IndyCar this week, so we're gonna get straight into NASCAR. The five, I have Ryan Blaney, one cup win there, one Xfinity race there. This is only the second time in Iowa's history that they've had a cup race, so not many winners there. If you're wondering why, that's why. Byron, he won an Xfinity Series race there. Same with Bell, he won two. Briscoe won one Xfinity race there, and so did Chris Buescher. Honorable mentions: Brad Keselowski's won three Xfinity races there. Kyle Busch has won one along with Eric Jones and Ryan Preece, and so has Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He's won actually three. So yeah, in the Cup Series, the lone open team is Joey Gase in the Hank Hill propane car. So yeah. Xfinity Series rotating guys SS Greenlight in their two cars. '07 Patrick Emmerling, 14 Garrett Smithley, fifth Junior Motorsports car. The part-time mobile of the nine is going to be Ross Chastain. Josh Williams and Colleague Racing have parted ways in Xfinity Series for the rest of the year. Underwhelming results there for Williams in his time there. So Carson Hocevar is going to be the first of many rotating drivers in the 11. For colleague 17, Kendrick is Corey Day. 19 for Gibbs is Justin Bonsignor. 21 uh, is going to be one Austin for another, this time Hill for Dylan. And the 21 for Richard Childress. Uh, Joey Gase cars 35, Tyler Tomasi 53, Joey Gase, and another Hank Hill car. 45, Alpha Prime, Mason Massey. 70 for Cope is Thomas Annunziata. And 74 for Mike Harmon, Dawson Cram. And the 91 for DGM with JIM, Josh Blicky. Ethan,
Yes,
hungry.
I am hungry. Yes.
I knew it.
Um, well, since we're filming or recording, I should say, on a Friday, that means that practice one and practice two have already happened. Um, so there are actually two things I want to mention before we move on, and that is that one, Fernando Alonso was kind of at risk of missing the weekend. He's dealt with like some back problems, like he was saying, like in his lumbar area. Um, so he missed free practice one. Felipe Drugovich drove the car. Fernando then drove the car in FP2. He said he felt fine, so I assume that he will be good to go for the weekend. We almost saw a Felipe Drugovich debut though, so sorry, Andrew.
This
Sorry for
this
the bad news there.
this does this count for his the rookie thing? Because you have
The
to have a
like
rookie.
the young drivers like driving in free practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this would count.
Okay. Did Alonso already have that?
It's a team thing. Like the teams have to have young drivers driving the car. It's not like a drive. It doesn't have to be a specific driver in the team.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, Max Verstappen, I thought he got a penalty, but I guess it was just a warning. He threw a towel out of his cockpit, which is kind of funny. I thought he got a penalty, but I just looked it up again and it says it was a warning. Um, but kind of a funny moment. Lando Norris topped both sessions. I don't know if that changes any of your pick point stuff, Andrew. It doesn't change mine, but thought I'd mention that.
Okay.
And
Speak
Hungary, Monaco without the wall, or Monaco, yeah, Monaco without the walls. So
anyway, into pick points.
And now for next week's race picks.
I said this would last week would be a critical week. Um, I I think I had the most, yes, I did. Of all the races, I took points in the most amount of races. However, the guest took the most points this weekend as they had 21 compared to my 12 and Ethan's 5. So, with that being said, I'm now only down by 13. Ethan, you have 228 to my 215. Guess are 50 points back now. 178. The guests, Morgan getting them to climb closer to the fight, but they're still a little ways away. Um, so yeah, we're gonna break down everything here. We all got 1 point for picking Dennis Hauger. Morgan got 5 points for picking Kyle Collette. I got 5 for picking Alex Perlow. And Morgan got 1 point for Rafael Camara. Second, the F3 main race canceled. Ethan, you got 1 point for picking Gabriel Mini in the F2 sprint. I got one in for picking Jack Crawford in the feature. Uh, Morgan got 5 for picking Max in the F1 sprint, 5 for Oscar in the regular Grand Prix for first, 3 for Norris being second. You and I,
yeah,
Ethan, had those switched, so we got 1 point per Oscar and Lando apiece. That's 2 total points there. Corey Heim beat out Ty Majeski and Chandler Smith in the truck race, getting me a point. Uh, we all had Kyle Larson, oh, got us 1 point, and William Byron beat up Reddick and Gibbs for a point. Interestingly enough, Ethan, Byron ran out of fuel on the last lap, but Ty Gibbs was taking it slow, just trying to finish so he could beat Ty Dillon. But Byron had enough fuel to get to the end before Ty Gibbs did. So yeah, that could be a critical point later on down the road.
yeah.
Anyway, guest this week is Zach, my good friend. So yeah, getting into points or the actual picks, F3, lot of different picks this week. Uh, guest going with Marie Boya for the sprint race. I'm going with Rafael Camara, the points leader. Ethan, you're going different.
I am. They're F3's been kind of crazy this year. Just anything's happening. Um, and I was just looking, who makes sense because it's not, we always pick like Kamara, and I think there's good reason to do so. He's the best driver in that series, but he's not going to win, you know, every single weekend or anything like that. So just looking around, yeah, who else is good? who else has like who's competed at Hungary as well, because I think that that's a track where experience can help you maybe. And not great results there, but Martinez Stenshorn has experience there. He's had a solid season. I don't know. I have him for the sprint.
For the main race, Zach's going Rafael Camara as well. Ethan and I were going the same boat, Nikola Kozlov.
Yeah,
Ran up there last year.
he won the feature race last year, and he's overall having a lot better of a season this year. So I think that he could you know, do
Win.
pretty well. Yeah.
Um, Again, kind of some different picks for F2 as well. Some guys we don't no normally go with. Um, Zach went with Alex Dunn. I went with Leonardo Fornaroli.
I went with Victor Martins. Um, he's got to pick up a win at some point, I feel like. Um, and he's a guy who has had, good success at Hungary in the past. We got a couple of P2s last year.
I went with Luke Browning as my main race pick. I really just wasn't feeling really good about anyone in particular.
Yeah, I picked Leo Fornaroli. I was also not really feeling real good about anyone, but he's gotten into a bit of a role now. He's won a couple of sprint races. It's time for him to win his first feature race.
Uh, the guest took
He
Rich.
hasn't he hasn't won a feature race in like 2 or 3 years. Time to get one.
The guests going with Richard Versure as their pick. We all went for P1, Oscar Piastri at Hungary. Uh, yeah. And then P2, you and I went Lando Norris. Guests going Max Verstappen.
hmm Um, I think that it's pretty obvious why we went Oscar and Lando P1, P2. I don't really need to say it. Oscar's been the best driver this year. And this is a track that he won here in a really weird fashion, granted, but he won here last year. Lando had better, you know, race pace, I guess, but it was Oscar's win. I don't know. That race was really weird last year, and Oscar's just having a better season this year, so I think it makes sense that we both went 1-2 in that order.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's why I went that way. And then Zach going that Norris P3. I went Charles Leclerc coming off the podium. He could get another one.
Yeah, I think that there's a solid chance that the rest of the season is a lot of Oscar Lando Charles, Lando Oscar Charles, in some variation of those three. But I'm going Max Verstappen. Um, I just don't think you can ever count him out to get on the podium. I think that I will almost always, going to defer to him when it's close between him and Charles. And I don't know. I when I think about Hungary, there's like not a Charles performance that like jumps out to me. And not that there's like some crazy Max performance that jumps out to me, but I just feel like he's better there. I have no stats to back that up. I didn't look. That was just all all thoughts and feelings.
Going Xfinity route, guess going with Sam Mayer. We both went Connor Zilic for our Xfinity pick on a
He's on
heater right now,
fire.
and he won there in ARCA too.
Yeah, this kid, Andrew, when we were, you know, preseason talking about how he has a real shot to come in and win the Xfinity Series, as a rookie. He won Coda, of course, but that's a road course. That's his comfort zone. And then it was kind of a stretch of like meh, a couple good performances, a whole lot of mid. He misses Texas, and then he comes back, and it's like 7 races. I don't know. It's a handful of races where he hasn't finished worse than 5th. Like, this kid is on fire. He is showing the materials that we expected to see. Like, we put such high pressure on this kid. Everyone did. And he's going out there and, performing the way that we all thought. He's insane right now, going for his 4th win in a row.
Mm-hmm. For the Cup race, we all went 3 different ways. I guess went Denny Hamlin trying to get another one where the past 3 weeks have been Hamlin win, his car win, and now back to the boss man. If that were to happen. But I will say it'll be a different Toyota driver, Ethan. Christopher Bell won there twice in the Xfinity Series. Always kind of good at the short tracks, it feels like. So yeah, I think he's got a good shot to win.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm going with Kyle Larson. He had a really, really good run there last year before a wreck late ruined his race. If he can avoid wrecking this year, he should definitely be in the fight at the very least. It's been a while since he's won. It's probably been like at least a month or two, feels like it anyway. But he's Kyle Larson. You can never count him out. Kind of what I was saying with Max. If there's kind of like a toss up, and for me, the winner of this race is kind of like a toss up because we don't have a whole lot of history there. I'm probably gonna defer to Kyle Larson. He's had a couple good results in a row. Maybe something's building toward a win.
Yeah. So there you have it for episode 30 or 100th episode on YouTube. All right, I think that's pretty much it.
Goodbye.
To me, it looked like he actually lost the wheel.
The wheel for Ross Chastain is still and perfect.
Wheel on the track.
Did you leave the wheel loose?
You picked the fine time to leave me loose, wheel.